You're watching a Big Z review. Sisu, Road to Revenge, is a new action sequel that comes out this weekend as pretty good counter-programming to the Wicked sequel. And it has some fun moments, but overall, it's got a little too cartoony for me.
You killed hundreds of civilians, including the family of a Finnish commando who took revenge and became a legend. The legend entered Soviet Union 10 hours ago. I'm sending you to clean up your mess.
So Sisu came out a couple years ago, and really a much smaller release. Like for me, I never had a chance to see it in theaters, but I caught it once it hit home video viewing, and I really enjoyed it. Sisu is a Finnish word that doesn't really translate. It means like grit, courage, resilience, and determination. And that the idea is that this man is someone who refuses to die. And in the first movie, it really felt like it was a fable. Like it was like a war story that people would tell, that the Finnish people would tell, like honoring this hero. And then the Russians and the evil people would tell as like a horror story. And like the idea, like almost like a little bit, the moments almost like it was like Jesus, where like except he was hanging, but like he almost like came back to life, and his family was murdered. He has to come back and get revenge on everyone. And this one brings back the same director and writer, Jalmari Helander, and it brings back Jorma Tomila as Atami Korpi. And then now it adds Stephen Lang as Igor Dragunov, is like the Russian that murdered his family, and now he gets a chance at revenge, the people that actually killed his family. And I think the best parts of this film is definitely the first half, which is essentially Mad Max Fury Road, but set in by the Finnish USSR border. And it is really cool. Like he's in this big truck, and the idea is that he went home with like Finland had a lot of his property taken over by the USSR after World War II, and they like his home was in this area. So he's taking this truck into the USSR to tear down his home and bring it back to Finland, even though his family's all dead. And of course, he's using his passport as like, hey, isn't this guy that killed like 300 Russian soldiers? Yeah, we should, the guy, that's in jail for a bunch of war crimes, you should let him out and send him after this guy to kill him. And I think it's a little far-fetched idea that the logs that formed his home are so important that he has to bring him back to Finland and rebuild his house. And, I mean, it's kind of cool, the idea that, like, they're trying to kill him the whole time he's trying to protect the wood. But, like, at the same time, he brought his dog with him. It's like, if you're going into Russia, maybe don't bring your dog. I feel like they're trying to, that's the only thing for the people to grab a hold of, the viewer. Because, again, Jorma Tomila does not speak a word. And it's just, there's not much to grab a hold of. Even like the music isn't that great. The score isn't that great. There's some cool throat singing and all the moments where like, he's not giving up. He isn't the real person, But I just didn't have anything to grab a hold of again for another movie of this. I was excited for this and I thought it'd be cool. And I really did like the first half. But I think at a certain point, they just jumped the shark. And it just goes into the cartoon. It's like I'm watching Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, like a Looney Tunes commercial, a Looney Tunes cartoon. So I am kind of going to spoilers to talk about my problem with the second half of the movie. I do have to spoil stuff. But like at a certain point, like they're bombing him, and someone does like a suicide kamikaze attack on him, and he's able to cut a board and fly into a ramp that launches it out. And he puts the wood back on, and he's running away as they firebombing him, and he drives over a cliff. And at this point, it's like his dog is probably drowning, But he takes the time to, instead of saving the dog, I need to save my wood. Of course, afterwards, like once he actually it cuts off the wood and it all floats, and he's able to use it as a raft. But like, and then the biggest thing too is like, again, it just keeps it's trying to amp itself up further and further, but it's just goofy. But like he finds a tank that still works and a bunch of plastic explosives, and he sets up a Grand Theft Auto 5 trick shot. And it's like, first he creates a sheath for his knife after biting off the hilt and stuffs it into his leg because he knows he's going to get caught and somehow that'd be really important. When honestly, he didn't even really need that knife. It's just like real like, I don't think that's how human bodies work. Like, I think you'd die. But like, he instead of just crashing into the Finnish border where they have like the stuff set to stop him, he like sets off this explosive to launch him over the border and crash. And he's fine. His dog is fine. I think the whole idea of this is that he lets his dog go, escape into Finland. But like, I think Stephen Lang, like murdered hundreds of women and children, including his family. And it's like, he just like, let the dog live. I think he would murder the dog too. Thankfully, the dog survives. But like, I don't know if he should. And then you have like the big scene for the finale is on this train. It's like they tortured him horribly, but they didn't kill him. They're not going to kill him yet for some reason. It's like, instead of just murdering this guy that refuses to die and has killed hundreds of soldiers, I'm going to give him a chance to break out and get revenge. But like his back is just like hamburger meat. And it's all like chopped up, and like deep cuts, like through the muscle. And he somehow like is able to like use his back muscles to flip himself over and pull the bolt out of the roof of the train and then go on the whole thing through this train. And like something that could be like a whole nother movie. But I feel like it's almost like they're killing time because there is no story. Like for the first half, he didn't even know that Stephen Lang is who murdered his family. But then now for the train, he knows they murdered his family. So now he has to get revenge. But like this train, there's like two scenes where I'm just like, it's killing time. He's just like walking through like all these soldiers that are sleeping, and when the train moves, an arm goes flop, and he's like, oh, an arm, I have to duck under it. And it's long. It's like, oh, because the movie is under an hour and a half. So without these scenes, the movie would be like an hour 15. And it's just like he gets through one cabin and he goes to the next, and it's like, oh, another cabin of sleeping soldiers. And it's stupid. But then it gets so cartoony because the guy wakes up and he throws a pickaxe he has and like kills him through the head into the door. And like one person wakes up and he stabs the shit out of him through the bed without anyone hearing him. And he's walking again slowly in this train cabin. And the train moves and a bunch of hands fly out. And this one is holding a bottle of vodka, which falls down. And that's why he's like essentially almost naked. He's like just in like pants or shorts or something. Now he has to walk on the broken glass. And then, oh, people are waking up. He has to fall down on the glass and roll under the bed with his hamburger meat back covered in broken glass now too. And then he puts his hand into a rat trap. And this time I laughed so hard, but I was like, I don't know if they're trying to be funny or if it was just stupid. And then after all that, he just kind of gets up and runs to the end of the train cabin and like closes the door and puts a pickaxe to lock him in and takes the clothes of the guy that he killed earlier. And it's like, what was the point of that, like the past 10, 15 minutes? It's just odd. But I knew they couldn't cut it short, but they needed more to make it an actual movie. And then it gets even more Wile E. Coyote because Stephen Lang hears a bunch of bullet fire from the front of the train, and he comes up and takes off and disconnects it, and then he watches him as he goes by, and then he looks, oh, under this tarp is a missile secured by 2 small bolts onto this train car. He can figure out a way to ignite it and launch the train at the further half of the train. And it won't explode until he needs it to later, when he removes one of the bolts with his mouse and spits it at Stephen Lang after he almost beats him to death. And this time, now, the rocket will break its bindings and fire at Stephen Lang and hit him in the forehead and kablooey. And it's just too much. And at the same time, the action isn't that great, especially for the second half of the film. The action, when he's in this truck and they have these motorcycles and guys in full armor, some of that action is really cool. It's like Mad Max, but in the World War II era. But I think everything after that first half is just, it didn't work for me. It didn't earn it, I feel like. And the whole time, he's just completely silent, and you have nothing, he's not saving anyone. What does he even get? I guess he gets revenge, but he can go back to Finland and build his house and be sad until he dies. It's just what? There's nothing for me to grab a hold of. But some of the stuff I liked. The first half is pretty badass, but the second half is just goofy. I don't know. I've heard really good things about this, and I was looking forward to it, but it just didn't hit the mark for me. I'd probably give a 6.5, 6.75 out of 10. But thanks for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe down below. Thanks.